On a nice day, the couple is peacefully sitting in the park and having lunch. Then, the plane flies with contrails over their heads. The average couple who found it would have thought,
"Wow, that's cool."
because it's always fun to see planes flying in the sky. However, a controller couple who are there at the same place and time will think a little differently.
Do you know what airway that aircraft passed by?
How many feet is that altitude?
Seems like heavy traffic.
Do you have any experience in analyzing outside the control room, not just passing by airplanes? Without knowing, people who work as controllers often act as a controller in their own lives. What kind of habits have we developed that we cannot even recognize ourselves? Let's look at the story of a controller that only controllers know. The controller leaves for an unfamiliar destination. As soon as the aircraft touches down on the runway of the airport, the first thing he found was the control tower.
This airport has a control tower there. Well, it's a unique control tower.
Talking to himself like this, he turns on the phone camera. Not stopping there, he looked at the structure of the airport's runway and taxiway, wind direction, and traffic volume. The controller can guess the traffic volume of the airport by looking at the stationary aircraft or circling only by looking at it in the cabin. This means that it's not just someone else's job. Not only when visiting other airports, but also when controllers find aircraft in their daily lives, they automatically analyze various situations.
I see that the aircraft is a Boeing 737 MAX.
It's an Airbus, but it must be Airbus 330 because it's long.
The aircraft started a circling approach to landing.
They can even tell if the aircraft is taking off or landing by just listening to the sound of the plane while talking to friends around the airport. The ability to perceive it only by the sound of the aircraft during takeoff and landing was enough to surprise other friends. This time, let's look at a family that has a controller mother.
Dinner is ready.
At her mother's words, the children stopped working and walked to the table. However, the mother said to the children once more,
I told you dinner for you guys.
Controllers, who have to accurately grasp the pilot's intentions by hearing a clear response to the control instructions at every moment, have a habit of checking whether the other party has listened to them even in everyday life. Therefore, they often react to small things that do not require an answer.
Have you heard of me? If you did, you should answer. If you have any other thoughts or can't answer right away, say stand by.
She unconsciously asks for a read back.
I'm going to go out for a while, so eat fruit with your brother and finish your homework and then watch TV.
Okay.
Mom, the controller, can't be satisfied with the ambiguous answer of okay.
What did I say? I told you to watch TV after eating fruit and completing your homework. Did you understand?
Okay, we will watch TV after eating the fruit and finishing homework.
Eventually, she got a definite answer to what she told her children to do. A controller and his friend are looking for a parking area in a large grocery parking lot.
The place we should look for is Juliet 1.
At that time, he would have thought,
Why are you using a girl's name all of a sudden?
the controllers who are accustomed to using the phonetic alphabet habitually read the phonetic alphabet when they look at the alphabet. Like fishermen going out to sea, controllers have a habit of checking the weather of the next day. This is not simply that you have to prepare an umbrella. Depending on the airport, there are busier airports when the weather is good and busier airports when the weather is bad. There are also airports where almost all flights are canceled on rainy or snowy days. Therefore, from the time tomorrow's weather comes out in the news, it is already expected whether tomorrow will be a hard day or a comfortable day. They also think of this while looking at the weather forecast. Tomorrow, the climb rate will be poor due to strong winds, or the runway will change several times, and the airport will be busy due to snow removal. Instead of looking at the weather forecast, unconsciously they keep thinking about these. A similar example is to worry about bird strikes while watching migratory birds and eagles flying wonderfully in the sky. Controllers use telephones to exchange aircraft position information or to cooperate with nearby control units. These tasks usually need to be processed quickly in real time. Therefore, the controllers do not make the phone ring more than once and answer the phone immediately before that. Because of this habit, they become very impatient if the phone rings more than once when they receive a phone call, or quickly feel frustrated if the other party does not answer the phone right away when making a call. But in reality, it only took a few seconds. Controllers who have worked on schedules for a long time live all day without knowing what day it is or lose their sense of weekends and holidays. They work on weekends and nights when most people are off, and on the contrary, when most people work, they have holidays. If this life continues, the time to meet close friends will gradually decrease. Also, it is the daily routine of controllers to go to the bathroom before sitting in the control seat, because they have to sit down most of the time and stop going to the bathroom and solve traffic. Headaches and indigestion are inevitable to them because they have to do various tasks at the same time without being relaxed. Can you relate to this video? What in your knowledge and experience as a controller plays a large part in your life? Isn't this proof that you have loved and worked so hard on your work? We cheer for your tomorrow. ATC for you.